Medium textured papers such as Bristol Vellum and Stonehenge make great surfaces to work on with colour pencils, as well as those with a fine grain like the Hahnemhule Nostalgie paper. Having some texture to the paper allows the colour pencil pigment to grip to the surface easily, so you can add a good number of layers to your drawing if used in the right way. Whether these types of surfaces are new to you or you are just looking to improve your skills, I have 5 quick tips that will help you get the most out of these types of paper. There are many brands of colour pencils available, some of them being softer and more waxy, like the Luminance and the Prismacolors, and some being harder, like Polychromos and Pablos. The beauty of this paper is you can use whichever type of pencils you prefer and whatever suits your style the best. Personally, I find the softer pencils like Prismacolors and Luminance work really well on this paper for building the layers and blending. And then the harder pencils like the Polychromos and Pablos for those finer details at the end. When drawing on papers such as Stonehenge or Bristol Vellum, you can use whatever sharpness of pencil you like depending upon the techniques you are using and the look you are trying to achieve. By starting off with a sharp pencil for those initial layers will help you create a smooth base to then build up from. Once you have done this, then you can choose the pencil tip you need depending upon the techniques you are using. I mostly use a sharp pencil on this type of paper, except when I'm creating a softer look. Then I tend to use a dull or a blunt tip. The reason being is you will find, as it is a textured paper, using a sharp pencil will really help to create more of a smooth finish, whereas if you use a dull or a blunt pencil, it will skip over the grooves of the surface of the paper, creating more of a texture. I find the best way of building up colours on paper with a little bit of texture is to use light layers. As coloured pencils have a translucent quality, you can see the colours underneath, which allows you to create and mix new colours and new shades. The beauty of a surface like Stonehenge's, it lets you add lots of light layers. And then you can finish off with a bit more pressure at the end where needed, which will help you achieve the look you require. With a slightly textured surface, you will find it is made up of lots of peaks and valleys, or grooves, which then, when building up the layers, you can sometimes be left with white speckles of the paper showing through, which are those little grooves in the paper. And if you have a dark colour next to them, these little white speckles can be quite prominent and sometimes unsightly. So what's the answer? Well, firstly, starting off with really sharp pencils to build up those first layers really helps, as if you have a fine point, it will go down into more of the groove than a blunt pencil will. Second, building up light layers really helps, followed by a firmer pressure at the end. If you still have some white speckles at the end, don't despair. There are a few other things that you can try. 1. Get a very sharp pencil and hold it upright so the point will directly go down into any little holes that you've been left with, and then you can just fill in those tiny little speckles that are left. 2. Burnishing. I find paper like Stonehenge works really well for burnishing. This is where you take a lighter colour or a white and apply it over the top of the previous layers, and then you can rebuild up your colours as needed. This technique creates a smooth, polished finish and helps to get rid of some of those speckles. 3. You can try blending using a paper stump or soft cloth to move the colour around and create a smoother look. You probably want to do this though before adding in any final details. 4. Solvents. This is not something I personally use because the smell very sadly makes me feel ill, but there are many people out there that are very successful in using solvents to blend the pencils after a few layers have been put down. It kind of washes them and fills in the gaps of the paper, creating a smoother look. It really comes down to personal choice, but it is possible to eliminate those white speckles if you want to. Sometimes, though, they can actually be very useful in helping you create a texture, such as when drawing rough elephant skin. Unlike with really textured paper like pastel mat, you cannot really draw light over dark on these medium textured papers. If you want to keep an area white, such as when drawing whiskers, then you need to keep them white or protect your paper right from the start. Alternatively, you can use something called a liquid white, which is a liquid white coloured pencil, at the end for any corrections. However, I find it better to keep the paper white in the first place where possible. Sometimes you can get a bit of white to lighten over a dark area if you have built up enough layers and you have used a firm enough pressure at the end, but I wouldn't just rely on this being the case because it doesn't always work. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and got something out of it. I would love to hear in the comments if you plan on giving any of these tips a go or you already use some of them. If you have enjoyed watching it, then I'd be really grateful if you could give this video a little like for me. And if you would like to watch any more of my content in the future, then hit that subscribe button. Every like and subscribe really helps me to grow my channel just that little bit more, which means I can keep making videos for you guys, which is what I love to do. Now, if you are interested in a different surface with your coloured pencils, that of pastel mat, but you're a little bit boggled about how to get the best out of it, then check out my next video, which is all about 5 quick tips of what you can do to get the most out of that surface paper. So be sure to give it a check out. Anyway, thanks for watching and bye for now.